Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on the IB Diploma program. Raise your hand if you've been in our schools since elementary school. Excellent. Middle school? No? Okay, so this is a little bit new, a little bit not new. The diploma program is a little bit different from the primary years program and the middle years program because it's really looking at taking all of the skills from the primary years and middle years and making those skills useful in some really in-depth study in a bunch of coursework. So your student can either be a diploma candidate or they can take courses here and there, depends on what they're most interested in. And we'll talk mostly about what being a diploma candidate is. A common pitfall is for students who aren't diploma candidates, but they end up taking more IB courses than the IB course the diploma requires. So they end up with 7 or 8 IB courses, but they haven't earned the IB diploma just because they weren't planful. And so they end up like, oh, I should have done all of that. Colleges would have liked me more if I had done that rather than just getting some credit. So what does it take to do IB? So what are the characteristics that we hope to see in our diploma candidates, or at least that we see in our diploma candidates that are the most successful? Hard work, time management, and these are things that time management will work on them with. How do we manage our schedules when we've got 7 courses that are in depth, and we as teachers try to make sure that we're staggering some of the bigger assignments so that it's less stressful for the students. They need to be creative, they need to be able to work in teams, they need to have an international outlook so they can't be focused just on their own little world, they need to look outside broader. They have to have some curiosity, and they need to strive for academic excellence. So why should we bother? Why is it important to be an IB diploma candidate? These students end up feeling more prepared to succeed in college. They end up graduating more than students that don't have the IB diploma. They're more likely to get past a bachelor's degree, so if your student is looking at going on to a master's or a PhD program, they're going to get a lot of the skills in high school that are going to help them succeed through those. And they're more likely to enroll in more selective colleges. Or they're just going to get picked by those other colleges and say, hey, come to us, we really want you, because you've gone for the diploma, whether they've earned it or not. So IB is not just a program. That's my big elevator speech. It's not just it's not just a test, it's a program. So AP, you get a gigantic textbook, you learn a whole bunch of stuff, and you test at the end, and you may or may not get college credit depending on where you're going. IB is a whole program, so we're looking holistically at how we as teachers are teaching your child. We're looking at the skills that your child has and try to support the ones that they already have and foster new skills within them. So we're looking more at who the child is and how we can support them. And we look at how we are teaching, not just how can we get through a textbook. We have to make sure that our teachers are highly trained. IB gets new curriculums every 5 years on a rotating basis, and our teachers need to be trained on the new syllabus, and they need to be trained on additional things like the approaches to teaching and learning. In the approaches to teaching and learning, the learning aspect are what are the skills that your student should have and how do we teach those. And teaching are things like what are the strategies for inquiry, what are the strategies for constructivism, all of those different teaching techniques that we learned in teacher school, we continue growing and fostering in ourselves. So here's the nitty-gritty, and it is with that worksheet that you have, or if you're watching at home, you can get this online. It shows you kind of the process that you have to go through to go for the full diploma if you're going that route. You have to take 3 higher level courses. Those courses are each 4 semesters long. You start them as juniors, and so you're taking them your entirety of junior and senior year. And higher level just means it's a greater number of hours that IB requires, and it's slightly more content and an extra part to their assessments. So in English, it's a longer oral examination that they have. In science, it's their lab that they get to create on their own. They have a few more hours that they have to do with that. They have to take 3 standard level courses. The standard level doesn't mean that they're dumbed down or anything like that. It just means that they're requiring less content of the students over the time that they take the course. Now, our courses, they can either run 1 year, like our IB Physics and IB Sports Exercise Health Science, or 2 years, like our IB English Language and Literature SL. So that one gets way more time to do a smaller syllabus than the Literature HL does. But the kids have more time to do it, which is an excellent way to go about your English if that's not your favorite course. And then we have some courses that are 1.5 years, like IB Chemistry and IB Film. So you would take it for 1 full year and then 1 semester additionally. On top of those things, you're going through what's called the core, which is the extended essay, creativity, activity, service, and theory of knowledge. And I'm going to talk more about those on a future slide. You may take up to 2 exams your junior year. So we have some students that are ahead in their foreign languages, and they'll test out on their foreign language as a junior, and then they don't have to continue that as a senior. Or they take IB Chemistry SL, and they finish that their junior year, and so they can take that test and not worry about it later, which really frees up some of the extracurriculars that they can take as seniors. The requirement, Barb mentioned it in the last presentation, the scale is 1 to 7, and they're taking 6 courses. They only need to earn 24 points total, and they get bonus points from their core requirements, which we'll see on the next slide. So it's an accessible program to be able to do that. There are a few requirements, like there's a certain number of 2s that you can earn on that 7-point scale. And if you get more than that, even if you got the maximum or minimum points, you wouldn't be able to earn it. We have theory of knowledge, which was an exciting thing for me today, to have all of the theory of knowledge students come in and talk to my IB chemistry course. They did presentations where they did a lesson on theory of knowledge, and it's really about how do we know the things that we know, and how do we explain the things that we know, and do we really know them? And it's really it's an interactive class that really gets people thinking about how all of their classes connect. So it's not just a standalone, let's do debate. It's not something like that. It's let's think about the things that we're doing in all of our classes and how they're related and how we know the things that we know within them. That is a course that runs from their 2nd semester of junior year to 1st semester of senior year. It's called concurrency of learning, so they have the summer in between where they're just kind of thinking and mulling over these things. They're growing a ton between their junior and senior year, and they become much deeper thinkers as they get into that senior year. The creativity, activity, and service are the things your child's probably already doing outside of school. They just have to reflect on it and do a project at the end. And it's not something like a big Eagle Scout project where you're putting millions of hours into this gigantic project so you can get your Eagle Scout degree with the Scouts. It is taking the things that you're already doing and taking them one step further. So in a few months here, one of our students is going to be doing a showcase. And they're getting a bunch of different diploma candidates to come in and showcase their talents. And so that's his way of saying, I've been doing all of this creativity. I love acting and I love singing, and I want to showcase other people. So that's the project that he's going to do. And then the extended essay is a 4,000-word research project that they do starting their junior year, about MEA time, so October. And they come in during 0 hours on Tuesday and Thursday mornings with a coordinator of the extended essay, and she teaches all of the research skills that they need to have, and they do their research with her. They also have a supervisor that's knowledgeable in their content area. So I have a student right now who is doing their extended essay in chemistry, and so I'm their supervisor, while they also have a teacher coordinator. And so they're getting support from 2 different teachers as they write a 4,000-word report in about a year's time. And I know 4,000 words seems like a lot, but It's doable. The thing that's really exciting about that is it's teaching them all those quote-unquote soft skills. So how do you research? How do you analyze whether a source is valid or not? How do you interact with an adult to get help from them when you need it? How do you identify when you need help? They're doing all of those things, but really they get to delve into a topic that's interesting to them, that relates somehow to one of their classes, but really is unique and exciting for them. And it's just a life-changing experience for most of them. The purpose of the core are those critical thinking skills, advanced research, writing, and citizenship. And those are things that hopefully are going to help them as they are going off into college. And again, is one of the things that colleges look for. So they're not just looking that you're an IB student, you're taking the piecemeal IBs, but that you're going for the full diploma because you're getting this core along the way. If your student's a 9th grader, a good way to keep the options open, if you're like, I don't know if my child's going to be interested in this or not, good options would be to take either film SL or chemistry SL as sophomores, because both of those courses go into their junior year, and they get assessed in their junior year, so that would be one of their 2 courses that they'd be assessed in as a junior. But it's really interesting classes that they can do well in, and they get the basis of what the IB education is going to be like, and it's setting them up to get further along. Those would count as their groups or their topic 6 of their 6 courses. The other things to keep in mind, we only have 4 HL courses, and since they have to take 3, they kind of have to be planful about which higher level course they're going to take. For IB biology, you just have to make sure that they've taken chemistry as a sophomore. That's our requirement now. All students are taking chemistry, whether it's IB or regular, as sophomores. So they're getting set up to be able to do this. IB history HL doesn't have big concerns that we need to worry about. IB English literature, honors English is not a requirement, but it's helpful. So I would definitely recommend that if they're thinking that they want to go the more challenging route of all of the 3 higher levels and 3 standard levels, take honors English. And then last but not least, the mathematics HL, you have to make sure that as a as a sophomore, they're taking pre-calc. So that's kind of the requirement at that point. And that, again, document kind of shows all of that. And I will be around for questions since we have such a big audience. I'll meet with you one-on-one if you've got any questions for me, or feel free to email me at magdal.jennifer@slpschools.org.